Has anyone put their young child on payroll? I've been learning about the rules around employing your child in the business you own and operate. What work they can perform, how many hours they can work, as well as the taxes and filing required. My main desire in doing this is so my child can start a Roth at a very young age. Is this an IRS red flag? Does anyone do it? How young is too young? Or does that even matter in the eyes of the IRS? Yes. I have my 15-year-old on payroll. She makes minimum wage, which is $15 in MA. She is my worst employee, is overpaid, and a complete nepotism hire, which I have reminded her a couple of times. She laughs as her bank account grows. I have her doing some computer type stuff. She isn't great at it. Have you posted this question on our tax? I'm going to do the same for next year when my kiddo turns 13. A lot of babies work from doing commercials, etc. But expecting a 6-yo to clean is kinda HMNNN. I put my daughters on payroll when they turn 12. I pay them $1,000 monthly. I also set up a Roth for them, and they are required to contribute a minimum of $250 per month. The rest goes into savings that will fund any college expenses that I don't pay study abroad, books, beer, etc. I've since found out it was illegal child labor, but I had my daughter on the payroll as young as about 7. She shredded docks, took out trash, talked to visitors at reception, etc. She did that for years, making a few thousands each year, which 100 went into an IRA. So when she graduated from college, she already had $100,000 towards retirement. IRS never said a word of complaint. Set up a 529 plan and fund the Roth and send the rest to the college ACCT. My wife and I do this with our 2 kids. I will say this with a huge caveat of what the other poster said around reasonable and listen to your CPA and financial planning team. We have younger kids, but I have used them both pretty heavily in my LinkedIn marketing, and they help out when and how they can. So they get a little bit into a 529 and Roth account. Again, as with anything, ask your financial team because they will give more tuned advice for your situation. Alternatively, you could start a 529 account, which can now be rolled over into an IRA account for your child starting next year. My younger kid earned some money through the business I own at age 3. I got a letter from the IRS that said something like, "We noticed this child is very young. What did they do to earn this money?" I got this letter again at age 4. The older one was 6 when she was hired and turned out to be the worst employee ever. Never got a letter for her. I worked for a parent. My dollar all went to an account Thar paid towards college. I was paid legit dollar amounts for the work, and there were no issues with the IRS. I have my 12-year-old on payroll. She works about 5-10 hours per week during the summer, cleaning, scanning documents, etc. She earns minimum wage and a chunk goes into her IRA. The rest she keeps. I heard an accountant talking about this with one of their clients, and they said that you have to choose a job that is appropriate for their age. Maybe you should speak with an accountant in your area. You can, if you keep it under 13K. They don't have to file taxes. Open Roth IRA and use their income to fund it. 5-7 years they will have 30-45K. That will grow tax-free. At 7 return, they will get 30-50K per year post-retirement. There's a much easier way to do this. Make your infant child a model for your social media with a perpetual license monthly fee. No age limit. Be smart about how you advertise and use your child on social media. We're a family physician office. We put the grandkids advertised for child checkups. vitamin supplements, etc. when they were infants. If you are paying them what you'd pay someone else to do the work, and they are actually doing the work is normal and necessary for your business, and you are issuing them a proper W-2, it is legit and fine. I started working for my parents on the books when I was 15. I had to get something signed off from my school. I worked anywhere from 8-16 hours during the school year. I cleaned and did grunt work, pull weeds, run back and forth to the mechanic's toolbox, wipe shelves, pulled weeds on the property. I featured my kids as babies in an ongoing advert campaign. They each were paid a flat fee and earned residuals for more than a decade. I was able to establish and fund Roth accounts for each. Yep, I paid them enough to do their max Roth contribution. They could shred paper, stamp envelopes, empty trash cans, etc. As long as you pay the correct payroll taxes. What can the IRS do? I've seen a number of YouTube videos about this very thing from financial advisors. It sounds like you can have your children on the payroll at any age in order to have them start accruing a savings account and an IRA and all that kind of stuff. I would think even as an infant you could have them on the payroll and maybe do something like a photo shoot with them and put them somewhere on your website for advertising purposes or whatever. And then the money you paid them would have been, for their likeness or whatever. My parents put myself and my sisters on payroll when I was 10 or 11. Had my Roth going and had my bank account going soon as I turned 13 years old. I remember my mom having me do market research LMAO. I also worked for one of my uncles too. I am an aromatherapist and my 14-year-old does the books for me. She is actually a great employee, my best hire. She is eager, smart, and wants to do her best. I have no regrets. My 12-year-old and 7-year-old are on ours. They both do work and only get paid when they work. We own a nursery, so there's quite a few appropriate jobs for them. I think it depends on the kids. Age 13 is reasonable. Yep, started both kids when they were early teens. One was literally stuffing envelopes for us. Accountant determined how many allowable hours and reasonable pay. They've both had a Roth IRA for many years now. The IRS is smarter than you. I just don't at their young ages, even though I could technically use them as models in ads or to sweep my offices. It just seems like too big a red flag for the IRS, and that is not something I want to ever have to deal with. Look at your state's DOL rules for hiring minors for what they can do and when they can work. As far as paying, you have to put them on payroll and file a W-2. Talk to accountant about this in specifics. Unless someone else wants to explain the intricacies there. Yes, it is an IRS red flag. That being said, as long you have the kids' hours logged in for time worked, and they are getting paid the fair market value of the labor, then an audit isn't an issue. You just show them the records. Need the W-2 to show up on IRS transcripts to have the IRA contributions. I have my 11-yo and 14-yo on payroll. They make like $50 per hour and it all goes into their custodial IRA or 529. They are poor at their job but honestly better than some adults. It's really just a way to pad their accounts young so they can retire at 50. I am a programmer and they review my code and test it by making phone calls. They also build test plans. My father put me in the payroll at 15-yo. I think I had to get some sort of work release form from school. My dad put me on his payroll when I was 10. If it doesn't go broke, my social security is $3,500 a month.